Hello and welcome to another episode of MuleSoft Notes by Ravi Singh. Today in this video tutorial, I'm going to talk about how to deploy and run a sample application of Mule in Docker. I'm also going to talk about what is Docker, what are the advantages of Docker, and why this is gaining so much popularity, not only for the Mule but for the other application. So let's get started. So these are the topic I'm going to discuss in this video tutorial. What is Docker, how to install Docker, what are the advantages of Docker, and then finally how we can create, deploy, and run a sample Mule application in Docker. So what is a Docker? A Docker is actually a container where the image runs. So uh, in a nutshell, we can say that Docker is a part or is a kind of a separate OS where the image runs. So image, there could be different type of images. It could be a Mule runtime. It could be a Java virtual machine, or it could be MySQL instance running. So these are the different images which can run inside a Docker container. And when we say container, every container is different from each other. For example, you can have a virtual machine with you, and you can have a 4 Docker container running inside that, and all the 4 containers are different. One we have Java running, one we have Mule running, and one we have could be any kind of database running. So this is a great way to publish or deploy your application on the cloud, and because it is a cloud, it is gaining more popularity. So a Docker environment contain multiple environments. So as I told you, we in Docker we have multiple environment, and each environment will run parallelly. So they will be independent of each other. So within one OS, say you have a virtual machine, you can have 5 6 so many different kind of environment. And once you create multiple container, you can create a multi-production server. So if we have more than one container, suppose in one container I will run a test environment, another container I can run a dev environment, and one container could be the production environment. So uh, by creating multiple container, you will create exact you know a replica of multi-production servers. And also, as I told, like you can create separate container for Mule and Java and MQ and like that. Excuse me. So the question comes is, what are the advantages of Docker? Why we should use Docker? So as I told you, like once we create a Docker container from dev to prod, we will have consistency. I mean, you'll never see any difference of the environment in Docker. For example, we are using image, so we always have the same image in different environment. So you'll never find any difference, and so your product development will be faster, and your product will have a quality because it comes is passed through the same type of environment or same type of environment or same type of container. uh, of course, different cloud support we have for Docker. So not only Amazon but Google, but all the cloud services are supporting for Docker container. So suppose you have an application and you want to run it on Docker, you will have all type of cloud supports you. And of course, we have version control in Docker, so you can easily revert back to the previous version, or you can create a new branch. And the way you are working with the repository or the version, you can work in Docker also. And of course, we have redundancy. So within one Docker, we have different container, as I told you. So we can create, a series of container, and we can replicate the application, making it a redundant environment, and thus your application will be more reliable. Okay, so each application runs its own container and is isolated. So what happens is when we run more than one application, suppose in your operating system, we are putting load for CPU, memory, and all. But in Docker container, we can create a separate container for each application and run it in their own container so that they will not interfere with the other memory, CPU, or such things. Of course, Dockers are secured because every images which you use inside Docker are digitally signed, and they are uh, isolated from each other. So this is a great way to keep it secure. Now, how to install Docker? I will be using a Mac OS, and I will be showing you how to install the Docker. You can, of course, use any other operating system as you have, for example, Windows or Unix or like that. This is the link. You need to go to docker.com, and then you have to search your respective operating system to get it installed. Okay, so to install the Docker, you just need to go there, and once you select your operating system, it will give you a separate installable which you can install on your local. So how to start a container? So first thing you have to learn in Docker is how to start a container. So this is the command to start the container. You have to give a command docker run, and this is the image name coding Tony slash Mule. So this is the one of the popular images of MuleSoft available on the internet. So if you want to start a container which is a Mule, you just need to give this command, and that container will start itself. Okay, I will show you a demo about this later on, but for now you can understand the command. Now, how to get the process associated with Docker? So it is very much similar to the Unix what we use. So we will give a command called Docker PS. It will give you all the running container in your Docker. And remember, all these command we are going to run from our local machine where the Docker is installed. And of course, this is very important before you run uh, any application in Docker, that you have to map your local drive. So what happens is we have a facility in Docker where you can map your local drive to the Docker drive. So for example, you want to run a Mule application. I will show you a demo later, but if you want to run a Mule application, the Mule file, or the deployment file, or the zip file, you will upload it to your local folder, and from there, once you create a container, the file will be copied to the container, and in that way uh, you just need to make changes on your local, copy it on your on your local folder, and from there the Docker container will get the file and run the Mule application. So this is how you run your Mule application on clouds. So to map your local drive, first thing is you have to download the latest Mule runtime. There is a link here. You can always use the slide to download it, and then you create a Mule root folder. So you need three folders in your local drive. First one is app, and all these three folders will be inside a parent folder, which is in I named it as a Mule root. So inside the Mule root, you can create three folder: apps, conf, and logs. And you need to create these folder or these file inside the app folder, which is hello world, which is my Mule application which I've created. I copied here, and then Mule config, and then Mule deployed or properties. If you have created any Mule application, I hope you are already aware about these three files. And then of course in the conf, we have log4j.property. This is the important file. We'll have it. The remaining file will be copied from the runtime environment. Okay, the logs. The logs contain the Mule logs. Whichever application is running in Mule will have logs for that. So what happened in this case is your application is running in Docker, but because you mapped your local folder to the Docker, you'll get all the files here also. So let's see how we can create a sample application in Mule. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to just set a payload simply with the hello world, and I'm just printing a dynamic date and time. Okay. So before we go to the terminal and I will show you a demo of the application, remember that to run your application, you have three options. First one is run it through your local Anypoint Studio. That application will run you in your local machine. Then there are two ways through which you can deploy an application on cloud and run it. The first one is Cloud Hub, which is the property of the uh, MuleSoft itself. That is something a paid feature, but of course developer can use it. Uh, so in Cloud Hub, MuleSoft gives you a runtime environment and also a place where you can store your file and run. The other option is the Docker. So Docker is also one way to run your application on cloud. So this is a good way when you want to show your demo application to the client or to customer or to someone else who cannot access your local machine. So in that way, you can show the demo of your application. So let's get started and see how we can create a sample Mule application and run it in Docker. So first thing is you need to go to your terminal first, and as I told you, this command, which is docker run image mule image, it will create an image for you. So let me show you how to do that. So first thing is, of course, I'm going to use sudo because that is the command to get in the super user. So let me show you. So this is the command you have to run. Okay. So as you can see, once I have used the docker run command to start an image in container, the this image is for the mule. So you can see here the mule runtime is getting started. So now we have a mule runtime uh, started on the docker. And if you want to see the process, you can always use the ps command. You can see here I have just started this container, and this is the image name, and this is the command, and it just started 30 seconds before. So this is the way you can start a container in Docker, and then you can see the process status. So let's see what I have to do to create a sample mule application. The first thing is you have to map your local drive to Docker. So let me show you what I did. So this is the folder I have created, to show you how to do that. So if you see here, I have a mule root folder, and inside that I have app, conf, and logs folder. So these three folders, the first thing what I did is I downloaded the mule runtime environment, and then these three folder exist there, apps, conf, and logs. I copied it inside this. So what you have to do is you have to follow the instruction given in the slides. So as you can see here, you have to create three folders, app, conf, and logs, and copy the folder content from the mule runtime folder. Now the next step is go to the Anypoint Studio and create your sample application in Mule. This is very easy. Just do the set payload and set this value in the payload. Once you do that, you will create a XML file of your application. In this case, it's hello world.xml. So once you create your Mule application along with hello world.xml, you have two other files. One is mule config and another one is mule deploy. Okay, so you have to make sure the mule deploy content is this, which is mentioned here, where we have like config resource, and then these are the default domain. And in log4j property, just make sure the info is enabled so that we'll see the logs coming up. So these are the two small changes you have to make. Now once you do that, the next step is create a zip or create a deployable zip for your application. So we have to zip the so what I did here is I have ran a zip command where I'm creating a zip with name mule hello.zip, and in that I have three files: mule deploy.properties, mule config.xml, and our application hello world.xml. Once you create your zip, the only thing what you have to do is copy this zip file in your app folder. Let me show you. So if you go to the Mule root application, you can see here I have these three files: hello world, mule config, and mule deploy. I have to zip it all three files in the same folder, which is apps. Once you do that, you are almost ready to run your application. What you have to do is, after that, you have to run this command. Let me show you. So what this command will do is, it will start your Docker. Of course, we have run, so that means it's creating a new container. I have used this P option, which is giving an exclusive port number to this, and then I am using a mapping. If you see closely here, I have this mule root, and then apps, which is my local folder. I am mapping it to the opt mule apps, which is in Docker container. And the same way, I am using this conf with a mule folder, which is opt mule conf, and then the logs folder will be logs folder of mule logs. So what I'm doing is I'm binding my local folders to the Docker folder, and of course this is the image which you have to run. So once you run that, you will create a container where we have our application. In this case, not only the Mule uh, runtime is running, but it's actually our application will be running on this port. Let me show you. So I just have to run this. So let's go back to the terminal, and because I already keep a copy of the command, so I will run it. Okay, so this is the command to run the Docker container which contain your app. Okay, your container is created. Now always make sure you use the ps command to see whether your container has been created or not. So you can see here, this is my first container, which in which only the Mule runtime is running, and second one, we have actual application is running, and you can see the port here 8181. This is normally used for the running the Mule application. So now our application has been started and is running. If you want to confirm that, again go to the Mule root folder and then go to the logs. Of course, we have to capture the latest log. Let me find you that. So if you open your latest log, you can see here it says deployed. This is the normal logs what we see when we get a successful confirmation for an application. So our application is running. Now the only way we have to confirm is we have to actually run the application and see the output. So how we will do that? This is the command which I already copied here. Let me run it. So this is the command through which we can log into the particular container. So if you see here, uh, we have the container running here, but we have to actually log into the container. So what we do is, in this command, we just need to replace this number with the container ID. So our application is running here in this container. I copied it and then I paste it there. So what happened is, now see, I logged into the root folder of my container. So till now I logged into my local machine, but now I logged into the container. So here you just have to do the way you run the local host. So you have to run command like this. Okay, so this is one of the thing I wanted to show you, and that's why I ran this command. First time when you log into your container, you may not have the curl command, because every time you'll be assigned a different container. So the first thing you have to do is to install the curl. So this is the command to install the curl. So first thing is to log into your container and then start installing the curl command. Okay, we are almost close. Let it complete. So the command is running to install curl. Just give it a minute. Okay, we are good. Now we'll run the same command. What you can see? You can see here is my output. Hello world. It is now the time and the date. Perfect. So this is how you run your Mule application, and uh, uh, this application is now running on Docker. So this is a very good way to make sure your application is running on cloud and it is available for anyone to access, and you can see the output. One of the problem with Mac OS is I could have done the same thing. Here what I did is I logged into the Docker and then running my local host. I can do it from my local machine. I can go to Internet Explorer or a browser and can access this URL. But with a Mac, this is the problem, where we cannot access local host of Docker from our local machine, but definitely you can do it Windows. Instead of running a curl command here, you can access your local browser and can run this command. So if you want to access this container from outside, you have to get the IP address of the machine. So once you have the IP address of this container, you can also access it using the IP address. Then that IP address can be accessible from your local machine or from another container. So I hope this small demo helped you to understand how to run an application in Docker, and also the importance of the Docker. I will see you in the next videos. Of course, I will give a link to these slides, and also I will share this video tutorial in the MuleSoft notes. Thank you very much for listening me, and see you next time in another video of MuleSoft Now. This is Ravi Singh signing off.